Hi Medina. With these videos that you sent when they're small, I have it small on my computer, they're clear, but when I blow them up, they're all blurry. So if you send more, maybe send it through YouTube or see if you can compress it a little bit differently. Otherwise, I'm just gonna make do, but I like to have it bigger so you can see it bigger. This, I believe, is where you're just kind of letting him do what he wants to do. So let me rewind it so I can show you. So when you send the videos, it's not that you have to have somebody videotape you. You can put it in a holder. I posted a holder before. It's called the B something, but I could send it to you. And you just put it on the rail or something over here and put your phone in it and have your phone facing you. That way you can see if it's recording or not. And then you just ride perpendicular back and forth. Because it's hard to see you coming here. The best I can see is when you're from here forward and then it goes behind you. So then that's harder to see too. So that's just advice on videoing. So here, I'm going to stop it. He definitely is pacing, so he's going a little too fast for his talent at this point in time. Your hands are too high. That would be fine for a trotting horse, or if he gaited well and you were trying to get the rack, but he's not gaiting well. So we have to adjust things to try to help him to get it. So we want your hands lower, and maybe you're just doing this because you're just letting him go, which is fine, but I'll still critique it just in case. So we want your hands lower. Your leg position, all that looks fine. Since he's pacey, it'd be best if you tilt it just a little bit more forward. It might help you to get weight on his front end. And then he's got his back inverted, and those muscles are very tense. And when they do that, they swing their legs instead of placing them down, and that's exactly what he's doing. So we want to try and get the head down to probably about here. And then we want to slow him down. So let's play it. So you'll see you're bouncing. I'm sure you know he's pacing, but you're bouncing, he's pacing, and it's getting worse. It's not getting better. And then there you are coming back. Now that's a little bit better. He's slower. Your hands were lower for a second, and then you brought them back up. And then you're sitting way back, but right now that's not helping him. Again, tilting forward might help him a little bit more at this point in time. That's a little bit better speed, but what we have to do is first get a clear walk. Now this is you in the arena. Sorry, as I'm moving my camera closer, it's putting those lines on there. And so that's a better speed, but his head is still too high. I mean, it's fine right at that 1 second that I just stopped it, but usually it's up here a little bit more. So we want to get his head down. So I'll send you the video on getting their head down. But if you also videotape doing that, if you're having issues, I can tell you what you're doing wrong, okay? So I'll speed it back up, but that speed's better. That would be his flat walk for now. That's much better with his head. And what you have to do, you half-haul to keep their speed, and you teach them ahead of time that when you put pressure on the reins, like I'll show you in the other video, that they're supposed to give to that bit. So then as you're going, if their head's coming up, you just hold pressure. When they bring it down, you release. But you only want to release a little bit with your fingers. If you release too much, then a lot of times they'll pop their head back up. So let me see if I can get my hand in here. So with your hand, you're holding the rein. And when they bring their head up, you tighten your fist and you hold real tight. And then as they're bringing their head down, you release a little bit. If you hold real tight, but then do this with your hand, which a lot of people do, they open it up too much. It's too big of a release. The horse pops its head back up, then you hold, it puts its head down, you release, it pops its head back up. So you're only going to release a little. So you're going to hold tight and then just release a little. They will feel that and they'll understand. And then over time, after you do it thousands of times, you will be able to ride on a looser rein. But right now he doesn't understand to keep his head down. Let's go back to the video. So that's a pretty decent flat walk. I would just like his head lower, your hands lower, so your hands closer to the saddle, and tilting just a little bit forward. And what I would do is that arena routine that I posted where you're doing all the lateral work, the circles, the serpentine, the leg yield, and all of that will help warm them up. I see you got some poles there, so that's good. All right, so we don't have much video, so I'm just gonna play this again. So I'm sorry for the lines. So there his head's too high. Still too high. It's getting a little bit better. That's much better. So with this horse, what I would do is when you start, so your flat walk, if you can keep his head down and you can keep him like this, that's pretty good. Then you can do all that lateral work, the circles, the leg yields, and all of that at this flat walk. And flat walk at least 5 minutes each direction. You don't even have to give him a break in between. But then after you walk for 5 minutes each direction, then stop, give him a couple minutes break, and then you can try for his running walk. But when you go for the running walk, I would keep him in a big circle, like a 20-meter circle. Keep him slightly bent because that'll help to separate his legs. And then tilt just a little bit more forward, get his head down, but keep your hands a little bit lower. And you want everything just tilted just a little bit more in this direction. Okay. He's got the flat walk, but at this point he should also have a pretty good running walk. So you're gonna have to work at it. What you're gonna do is when you go after your flat walk, and now you're gonna go to your running walk, you're gonna put him in a big circle, you're gonna bend him, tilt a little bit forward, and you're going to do your flat walk first, and flat walk a couple times around that circle. So that way he knows where he's going, and you're warming him back up from that standing still and the resting. Then after going 2 times around, you're going to ask for a little bit more speed. With him, I would alternate your legs. I would use one leg, then the other, one leg, then the other, because that'll help to kind of lengthen his stride, stretch out his legs, and it won't be so much force that he kind of jumps forward into that pace, because that's what a lot of other horses do. And in your brain, what you want to think is, I just want to go a little bit faster than I was going. Don't think of going a lot faster, just a tiny bit more speed. That's all you need. Once you get that, you're going to keep his head down and keep bending and going around the circle. If he starts pacing, stop, back him up. And when you back up, you got to do it fast. You can't pause and sit there, because then the horse gets a break and he thinks it's an okay thing to do. So as soon as he paces, stop, back up 5 steps, immediately go forward, go to your flat walk again, and then start going to go faster. And repeat that over and over again. Now when he does go faster, he keeps his head down, and it only needs to be a tiny bit faster. When he actually goes and he does it well, stop, tell him he's a good boy, scratch him, make a big fuss over it, and let him sit there, but not too long, because if we let him sit too long, he'll just go back to the pace again. So let him sit there about 10-20 seconds, tell him he's a good boy, and then start again. But as you walk off, start slow, then go to your flat walk, then ask for your running walk again. Make sure his head is down before you're going to that running walk. And then again, you're only trying to go a little bit faster. If he does a couple good steps again, try to get more than you got when you stopped the first time. So say when he went the first time, you got 2 steps, you stopped or scratched him, and then you let him rest. Then this time, try to keep going until you get 3 or 4 steps, then stop and rest him. Then repeat it again and try to get 5 or 6 steps, and then stop and rest him. Then turn around and go the other way and repeat it the other way. So in the beginning, you're not going to do it for a long time. We just want to try to get the point across. This is what we want you to do. And if you do it, we're going to stop and we're going to be done. Okay. Then the next day, you're going to come in and repeat that again. So you'll do all your lateral work, your circles and stuff at a flat walk or a regular walk. Then you'll do your flat walk even after that for 5 minutes each direction, just going around the arena, keeping that same speed and rhythm. Then he gets a rest, then you'll go for your running walk. And each day you're going to try and get more and more steps. If you're having major problems, yes, you can use the poles that you had set over here. Those poles are great. Or you can put poles in the circle. And what you're trying to do, if you have the poles and he's not getting his running walk, is stay at your flat walk and say the pole's here. As you get closer to the pole, then you're going to ask for a little bit more speed. The pole helps separate his legs. And then after the pole, slow right back down to your flat walk. Okay, because if you stay up there, he's probably going to go back into a pace, because their horse is going to pick the easiest thing to do. And so you really got to help him. The more you can keep his head down, the more you're tilted a little bit forward, the more you can keep his speed going, the easier this will be. Now, some horses, you have to half halt every step to keep them kind of semi-collected and in the correct body frame to get the gait. Other horses, you can loosen up a little bit and they do fine. But a lot of these walk-in horses, that's what it looks like. are real lanky and swingy, and they need a lot of help in the beginning. So the more you can help them with your half vaults, and you might have to do it every step, which is annoying, but if you do it in time, he will be able to hold it, and he'll have the idea, and he'll get better and better over time. You never ever want to let them pace or trot under saddle when you're trying to get the gait, because the horse will get confused and they will think it's an okay thing to do. So anytime he paces, you're going to stop, back up. And then each time, if he keeps pacing more and more, then you're going to make it harder and harder. So each time you stop, back up, and you back up further. Okay. If he just keeps pacing, it's not getting better at all, then you got to make sure you get the saddle checked and have his back checked and make sure he's not lame or he's being pinched from the saddle or something like that, because that can also cause pacing. But at least in this video, it looks like he's moving well. It looks like we just got to get his back to relax here, okay, because he keeps inverting it and bringing his head up. So we want his head lower and his back more relaxed. Now, to get it well, you might see in some of my videos, we bring the horse's head down pretty far because we're trying to get the back relaxed, and that's just part of the process. So if we do that, if the horse is really pacey, I might bring their head way down here and have them walking like that in the beginning, and then once they get better, I'll start bringing their head up. But they have to learn to relax that back. If they just bring that head down but they stay tense, then they will still do more of a pace or a stepping pace. So you really got to get that back relaxed, bring their head down far enough to help them to do that. And each horse is different, but the calmer the horse, the easier it'll be to get. If they're anxious or they're very energetic, then it's best to do a fair amount of lunging or running them around first so they are able to pay attention and relax that back more. Okay, so I think this is a nice horse. I think he is on the pacey side, and there's things to do to help him to get there, but at least you have the flat walk. Some people don't even have the flat walk. So he shows you he can separate his legs. He can do it quite well. It's just as you're picking up speed, he doesn't know what to do, so he just starts swinging those legs instead of placing them down. So let's watch it again. So he's doing pretty good. Again, his back could be more relaxed there. His head was a little too high. Head's still a little too high, but his legs are separated. That's much better there. That's even better. Yeah. But now his head kind of goes back up again. So we got to be able to keep that head down. Now, if you can't do it by teaching him, you know, the bits help, the miler bits help to bring their heads down. And in time, once he can keep it down, then we could loosen up and he could gait like this just fine. But since we're trying to get that running walk and get him out of the pace, we got to get his head down a little extra far. What I would do is, if you can't keep his head down, then you could use something like a German martingale, and I can send you a link for that if you want to try it, or draw reins with a snaffle bit. And what those things do is it helps to get the horse's head down. It helps to put some pull on it, so it directs the horse in the right direction. But you still have to do the correct things with your hands. That just gives you like a little bonus to help the horse understand. And then in time, you want to do it without the draw reins. But if you use draw reins or German martingale, I would use a loose ring snaffle in it. So again, over here, this is okay, but we're trying to set him up to get the running walk. So that head position, because of he keeps pacing, is going to be too high. So if he's like that when you speed up, he's more likely to pace. Now, if he's like that, see where his head is? It's down, it's like level with the top of your saddle. That separates his legs more, his back's more neutral, and he's more relaxed. Okay, so there he's pretty good. Now it starts coming back up. So that would not be where you wanted to ask for speed. So anytime you're asking him for speed, if you can, make sure his head's way down like that before you ask him. And as you ask horses for speed, their first inclination is to throw their head up and swing if they haven't been trained to gait correctly. So what you have to do is, as you're going to ask for speed, you have to hold a tighter fist on those reins to keep his head down. You got to keep more pressure. And therefore, since you're putting so much pressure on the rein, you have to push a fair amount with your leg. So you might have to carry a stick or have a little spurs, because you're going to have to use more leg, because it's kind of like riding the brakes and the gas at the same time. So a lot of pressure to get his head down, then a lot of leg to slowly push him forward. No kicking, just gradual, more and more leg. And anytime his head comes up like that, you're probably going to have to slow it back down. Anytime it's down and lower, oh, I don't think you did it there. That's still a little bit too high. That's a little better. So the best place he did was right about there, okay? So it's almost looking like a quarter horse there, but that's what we want to do for now, is keep his head way down. So again, the bits can help you. I can help you with the bits. I can't tell what you're riding in because the picture's too small, but the bits can help you to get it down. If that's not helping, then a loose rein snaffle with a draw rein or German martingale can help you to keep it down. And you're just trying to get the horse in the habit of keeping it down, have him understand what to do, and then again, you can ride without those tools. But only do this in the arena. Do not use a German martingale or draw reins out on the trail, because if the horse trips or you're in water, they need their head and neck to get out of those things, and they won't be able to do it if their head's kind of tied down. But in the arena, this is a safe place to do it. And you'll see lots of Western and English dressage hunter jumper riders using those tools to help them as well. So sometimes you need a little extra help because there's no instructors or any trainers to teach the horse what to do with its head. And so you use those things to help you, and then in time you'll be able to take them off. All right, hope that helps.